Hello friend, this is Ryan Hicks of TaughtToProfit.com. Today I want to talk to you about how failure is not a gift. I was watching a webinar, and I'm always watching webinars and learning and reading and educating myself on all kinds of subjects, but this particular one was about business, and in this individual talking about his leading up to his successes, he kept repeating this phrase, failure is not a bad thing, it's a gift. Failure is a gift. Failure is a gift. And I have to tell you something, my friends, failure is not a gift. Yes, failure can lead to better things for you, but it's not the failure being something good or a gift or a blessing. Failure is a curse. Most people do not have failure and then go to success. Yes, everybody's had success, has had failure in their life, but the average person, they don't go from failure to success. They go from failure to failure to failure, and then many times just give up. They don't ever get to that success point. It's easy to say failure is a gift when you're looking back on a life that has attained a lot of success and you see the failure in a different light. But it's not because failure is actually a gift, it's because failure was a stepping stone for you to get to success. But for many people, the losers in life, and I'm not saying loser in a derogatory, I'm saying people who actually lose in life. They're always constantly failing. What do? They try something, they fail at it. Then they go to another failure. Then they go to another failure. There's never a win. It's constant failure. That's not a gift, that's a curse. If you're having a life filled with constant failure, that's a cursed life. That's not a blessed life. That's not a life full of gifts. So yes, you need to understand that everything's going to work out for your good, but that doesn't mean that everything that happens along the way is good. That's a distinction that's very important. Because something bad and negative led to a good thing for you, doesn't make that bad, negative thing a gift itself. See, God's able to turn negative, destructive, awful things in life into something good for you, if you'll follow His leading and you'll be wise in what you do. But the problem is, that's not normal. Normal people go from one bad thing to another. And they may have reprieves and moments of time where they do not have a bunch of negative things going on around them, but there generally tends to be something, some relationship issue, some negativity over here, and this, or they got a health issue, or there's constantly something. My friend, those are not gifts. Problems with family and friends, health issues, monetary issues, all these things, these are not gifts. These aren't good things. These aren't things to be praised and to want more of. Yes, you can look at everything as going to be something to work for your good, and it will, if you have that right mindset, and if you follow the leading of the Spirit. See, the problem is many people, they want good things, they want blessings, but they don't want to do the things required for the good things and the blessings. Jesus talked about narrow is the way, straight is the gate. You know, the path everyone else is walking down, the road's perfect, it's easy to walk down, it's very broad and wide. But the narrow path that few are traveling down, there may be thorns, there may be some thistles, trials and tribulations, so to speak, because no one's walking down it barely. I have Great Pyrenees dogs. They're big, huge dogs, look like polar bears almost, and very sweet, gentle dogs though. But they have paths in the field where they guard and protect things, where they like to follow a certain path, and so they wear out the grass in that area. And so there's paths and trails where they like to walk, where it's good for them to do their guarding and patrolling. Now what's interesting is, this is how life is. When there is a well-traveled path, a broad way, it's easy, it's obvious, you can see where you're going. The path is cleared. But the narrow way, the path isn't necessarily cleared. There's going to be struggles, there's going to be failures, yes. Doesn't make the failure a gift. If you're going down that path and a thorn grabs you and cuts you, that's not some gift. That's just something you have to go through, continuing down the path of success. But the thorns, the thistles, the trials, the tribulations, they're not gifts. They're not blessings. They're part of the path to success. And what you'll find time and time again, yes, when someone who's become greatly successful, they've had a number of failures in their lives. But it wasn't the failures making them successful. It was the determination, the diligence to continue on in the face of failure that led them to success. Failure is not a blessing. Go talk to any homeless person. If you've ever done any work with the homeless people, you'll find all kinds of stories of failure and all kinds of excuses. But one thing you won't find is people talking about how great those failures were, how they really taught them some great lesson, what a gift it was now that those failures led them to a place of living on the streets. No one sees those as gifts. It's delusional, and it's easy when you're perched up in success to look back and say, wow, failure is a gift, because look where it got me. No. Failure is not a gift. And I don't want people to mistake failure and think it's some good thing. It's not a good thing. Especially when so many failures can be avoided. I talk to people all the time who barely educate themselves in the industries they're in. I talk to someone selling on Amazon, and I'm talking to them about various subjects, and they're, oh, I didn't know about that. How do you not know about it? You're selling on Amazon. How do you not know what's going on the platform you're selling and the things that you need to be aware of to become a greater success? Then the same individual, well, I'm restricted in this product and this product. Okay, well, why didn't you know that going in? Why would you buy those products before realizing that you couldn't sell them? One of the easiest ways to avoid a great amount of failure is to educate yourself. Once you get out of high school or college or whatever school you went to, that's not the end of your education. That's the beginning. That's just laying the foundation of a life of education where you're constantly learning and growing and adapting and becoming better. You will constantly have change, and you need to be able to adapt to the change. Otherwise, you're going to constantly end in failure and have to restart over and over again. And yes, failure is part of the process. You'll have some failures sometimes, unfortunately. But you don't have to go into most of these failures. So many failures people tell me about could have easily been avoided. These aren't inevitable things, something that people had no control over. It was beyond their scope of vision to even see that this could happen. It was things they didn't even take any precautions for. It was things that they didn't even attempt to learn about, that they could have easily familiarized themselves with if they were learning each and every day. And I'm not talking about hours and hours a day, although you can do that. I read for at least an hour a day. I'm constantly educating myself in the various businesses I'm in because I want to learn. And I'm adapting. And I've avoided things other people went through all kinds of failure with that I completely avoided. And I would have been in the exact same position they were in, failing. But because of that constant education, I avoided those things altogether. And I'm not talking about something that's difficult and only some rare few can figure out. Most of these things you can easily figure out if you just constantly keep yourself educated. If you have a business, if you work somewhere and you see things going on, be proactive. Don't be that employee that just sits around waiting for the business to fail. Be proactive. Say, hey, listen, this is going on. I think this could cost us money. What if we did this? If you're a person who has ideas, good ideas, don't just tell them nonsense. But if you are a person who has ideas and fix things and sees things coming, but because you're constantly adapting and educating yourself, you're going to be very valuable in any company you go in. You're going to be very valuable if you start your own business. Anywhere you go, you're going to have value because most people aren't doing that. They're just not. You talk to the average person and ask them how many hours this month they spend educating themselves on their business or their job. How many hours do you think they're going to answer? 0? 3? 2? 5? And if you take out forced education, like where they send them to a seminar or they force them to watch some educational video, forced education, it's probably going to be at 0 for most people. And yet if you ask those same people, well, how many hours do you spend listening to music? How many hours did you spend watching television? You'll probably get off the charts double-digit numbers, maybe even into hundreds of hours a month. This is where you decide to become a different person, a diligent person who is constantly educating themselves and becoming better. And then you can avoid failure then you don't have to pretend that failure is a gift. Yes, failure is not the end of the world. Failure is not a big deal. It's not necessarily bad because it's going to lead to your success, but it's not good either. Failure is not a good thing. It's not something to be desired. It is definitely not a gift. And yes, it is good when failure causes you to move in a direction that's going to lead to your success. But that does not make failure a gift or good in and of itself. Failure is not a bad thing. It's a curse. It is a negative. And because things worked out for your good does not make the curse, the bad thing, something good. But understand this. Many times you can avoid those negative things, those failures, altogether if you'll just be educated. Learn about your industry, learn about your business, learn about the products you're selling, whatever it may be, the services you're selling. Become valuable. And that's easy to do for anyone if they simply have the will to do it. I pray this has been a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.